Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the meeting of the Staffordshire Leaders Board today, Thursday, the 11th of July, 2024. Item number 1 on the agenda is apologies. Mr. Eberle, do we have apologies?
We do, Chairman. Thank you very much. We've got apologies from Councillor Carol Dean representing Tamworth, Councillor Doug Pullen from Lichfield, and Councillor Simon Tagg from Newcastle under Lyme Borough Council.
We'd like to welcome Councillor Farrell from Lichfield District Council and Councillor Sweeney from Newcastle under Lyme Borough Council, who are substituting for their respective leaders today. You're very welcome. Agenda item number 3 is the minutes of the previous meeting. Can I have those approved as a correct record of the meeting? All those in favour? For the record, that is unanimous. Agenda item number 4 is the Chair's update. Welcome everybody. As we all know, the purpose of this board is to maximise the opportunities for all the councils we represent and the people and businesses we serve. I'm delighted, therefore, to formally welcome Stoke-on-Trent City Council as a member of the board. As our neighbour, our partner and hopefully our friend, Stoke and the wider Staffordshire County have so much more than a simple geographical area in common, if I can get the words out. We have joint ambitions to deliver economic growth, attract investments and erode inequalities. It is about being resourceful, proactive and harnessing the strength of a united voice. Now that the City Council has formally joined the board, its leader, Jane Ashworth, will be the board's vice chair. Since our last meeting, we have also had some local borough and district elections, with Tamworth Borough Council electing a new leader, Carol Dean, so we look forward to working with Carol too on our joint priorities. Sadly, Carol can't be with us today, but Stephen Gabriel, the Chief Executive, is with us. Stephen, you're welcome. If you could pass on our best wishes and congratulations to Carol, I'd be most grateful. The board now reflects the cross-party makeup of both Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent, and our resolute focus remains to deliver for the county and the city as a whole. Of course, there's been a general election since we last met as this board, and we look forward to leading discussions with the government and our new MPs to help us achieve our joint goals. We have already seen how collaborative working and local leadership delivers for the people who live and work here, and our focus is now to continue on building this and to ensure that the voice of the board is heard at both regional and national level. Work is now well underway to shape our priorities, which include economic development, transport infrastructure, climate change and migration. A few weeks ago, many of us had the opportunity to showcase some of our economic ambitions at the UK's Real Estate Investment and Infrastructure Forum, which is known as UK REEF, in Leeds. This has rapidly become a platform for attracting investment and influencing key decision makers. Working collaboratively, we are already delivering significant investment into Staffordshire through the previous government's options, such as future high street funds and the Levelling Up Fund. As the new government shapes its policies and agenda, we will continue to work together to put Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent first and ensure that national government listens to our voice and acts on behalf of the county and the city. We have some key economic projects, such as the 5500 Midlands Growth Corridor, high on our agenda, and we want to demonstrate how our combined commitment, regional collaboration and the power of the public and private sector works best together. We have also worked jointly on migration and the accommodation of asylum seekers, which will undoubtedly remain high on the agenda for the new government. Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent have always played their part in supporting people fleeing war and persecution, but we will continue to press for closer collaboration between the Home Office, its partners and this board so we can best manage the impact on local resources. We will hear more about our other priorities in the meeting and about what more we want to achieve together. It is clear that a new government will always bring change, but it also brings opportunity too, something which this board will maximise every step of the way. Now onwards with today's agenda. Agenda item number 5 is governance and terms of reference. Right, let's get to the right bit. The objective of this item on the agenda is to note the terms of reference seek board sign-off, and also to include the opportunity for a vote to agree the terms of reference. So the first item really is to accept the terms of reference. A lot of work's gone into the terms of reference, so I'm hopeful that we're able to agree it fairly swiftly, if I'm honest. Does anybody have any comments on the terms of reference before we move forward? Nobody is indicating, so therefore can I seek your approval of the terms of reference as they're presented to you this morning? All those in favour? For the record, that is unanimous. The other items contained within the terms of reference, and we should, I think, as a formality, note this because we shouldn't take it for granted, is that there's two components to the I suppose, management of the board, which is the appointment of a chair and the appointment of a vice chair. Within the terms of reference, it's stated that we should have a vice chair for the board. That vice chair is, we recommended it is Councillor Jane Ashworth from Stoke-on-Trent City Council. And for the time being, it's recommended that I stay on as chair of the board. Now, when we set this thing up, I was very clear with you that it doesn't necessarily have to be me. I'm willing to, you know, let somebody else have a crack if they want. But it seemed to be at the time that people were content for me to be the chair of the board. So can I just have a vote to confirm that you are content for myself to stay as chair of the board? And I'm personally delighted to see Jane coming as vice chair of the board. So all those in favour? For the record, that is unanimous. So I think I'm looking at Mr. Eberly. I think we're done on that agenda item, aren't we? Is there anything else I needed to do? Oh, right, yes. There was one item as well, which I've just been reminded. It's the constituent authorities need to sign off the terms of reference. I think most people are pretty much there, but if you're not, if you can make sure you take it through your respective decision-making bodies. I think there's only one or two, perhaps, who've still got to get it done. But if you could see to that, it'd be great. Okay. With that, that concludes agenda item 5. This is going to be the fastest Leaders Board meeting the world has ever encountered. Agenda item number 6 are future priorities. You've got the future priorities in front of you. You've had the opportunity to take a look at them. I think there are some things in there that I think are just worth drawing out from respective leads for each subject area. In particular, economic growth, strategic migration, sustainability and climate change, health inequalities, single front door and other future priorities. Would anybody like to just talk to any of those items who perhaps lead on that at this stage? Just looking for anybody to indicate. No. So they are set out. We have had quite a bit of a presentation in the previous meeting about economic growth, apropos the work we're doing around UK Reef. I think that presents a fantastic opportunity, and I'd just like to, for the public record, welcome the contribution of all the districts, boroughs and the city to working together to promote Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent as a place to invest. I think when we look at what we have to offer as a geographical area, I think you can see there are plenty of opportunities for external investors to come in, seize the opportunity, use the skills, the industry, the endeavour, the entrepreneurship of the people that live in the county and the city to grow their businesses, because it's a lovely place to live. It's not just that it's a good place to work, and it's not just a good place to grow your business, it's a great place to live as well. And I know that many of the districts and boroughs in the city are increasing the housing, the places that people can live, some good quality housing coming forward all across the area. On strategic migration partnership, we've had quite a bit of work on that. It'll be interesting to see what the current government, the now current government, is intending to do with migration. I think it would be naive of us to anticipate that the problem is of how we deal with people seeking asylum and migration to the UK is going to go away. But I think if we have a coherent approach to that, as those areas that have been particularly affected by it, I look at Stoke-on-Trent City Council with the work the hard work that you've done on migration and asylum seekers, and to Mr. O'Brien and Councillor Fitzpatrick, the work you've done over in East Staffs on that. Stafford Borough Council, Councillor Godfrey, with your the challenges that you faced, there is still a lot to go at when it comes to migration. I don't know, Mr. O'Brien, if you've got any comments on that at this stage?
Thank you, Chairman. Only to say that obviously in the pre-election period, we were still in contact with civil servants to discuss the regional bed space plan. I know that we are intending to send a letter now that the election's over to the new Secretary of State and the relevant minister.
Mr Rouse, is there anything you want to say on behalf of Stoke-on-Trent?
No, but if it's the right point, I was going to just stand in for Councillor Tagg on just giving an update on sustainability and waste, if that's okay. I'm sure if he was here, he would want to update that the Sustainability Board has met since the last Leaders Board excellent meeting. We had two key items on the priorities. The first was we had an excellent presentation from the NFU on helping the farming community with respect to climate change, both in terms of mitigation and adaptation, and particularly around some of the opportunities that might provide in terms of making good use of some of the land that is available with respect to supporting climate change mitigation efforts. So that was an important item. And then the second really important item was on waste management and looking ahead to the legislative changes that are coming our way with respect to emissions charging, food waste, and responsibilities on producers with respect to packaging. And we particularly focused on materials recovery and reuse, the so-called creation of a circular economy to minimise the amount we need to dispose of remedially and also even to have to recycle. And we got some great best practice examples presented from a number of the districts actually, which will galvanise us forward, I think, in terms of a pan-Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent effort to increase the amount of waste that we are avoiding going to final disposal.
Thank you very much indeed. Health inequalities, an ongoing issue. I think that's probably the best that can be said about health inequalities. We've got a new Secretary of State. It'll be interesting to see how he takes on the challenge of the NHS and particularly the role of public health. Public health remains very important. There's some really, really important issues that we continue to need to tackle, particularly around obesity. Things like, if you look at the, what's the name of the health indicators thing? Gives the list of the, I've forgotten what it's called now. JSNA, Joint Strategic Needs Assessment. Thank you, Stephen. You bailed me out there. I think was that Stephen? Did you bail me out? Thank you. The Joint Strategic Needs Assessment for the County of Staffordshire and indeed for Stoke-on-Trent City Council sets out in very, very clear and stark terms where we've got challenges. For example, breastfeeding, smoking cessation, obesity, and these are challenges that we all need to face together. And I know that the Health and Wellbeing Boards for Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent do look at these things in some detail, but we as local authorities need to be mindful of those too. To the single front door, I know Mr Fletcher's been working on the single front door for some time. I don't know if you've got an update for us at this point, Mr Fletcher.
Thanks, Chair. No, nothing other than to say that there are a number of pilots that are currently running and we're very happy with the progress to date. So the joint working between the county staff and the district staff is proving really, really fruitful for our residents.
Thank you. And then we look at the future priorities ahead. There are some sketched out here. These evolve as we move forward, and there might be other priorities that people would consider relevant. We do need to ensure that we don't duplicate areas of priority, and if there's an organisation or an entity that's looking at a particular priority, we need to be clear that we're using our precious resource of time in a really careful way, because we don't want to be spending our time around this table with, it's a very high level meeting this, dealing with stuff that other people are already making progress with. Just finally, from me, I'm absolutely delighted to see a government department being renamed that's now got local government back in it. That can only be a good thing. I have to say that I have been disappointed over a number of years to see how local government has become, at best, a second-class citizen. And actually, the overwhelming majority of services that people receive in this country comes from local government. We do it. You collect people's bins. We help people get their children educated. We put in disabled facilities for people who are struggling to live at home. The overwhelming majority of people's services come from local government, and I'm delighted to see that local government is now reflected in a title in central government, and I think that's only a good thing, and I look forward to a future of hopefully a close relationship with central government on that. Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. It's just totally agreeing with you on your last statement there. I was looking at some figures the other day from the District Council's network, and there are a significant amounts of new MPs that have or are serving as district councillors, county councillors, and from unitary authorities. So I think probably for the first time in a good many years, we're going to have a significant representation who know what local government's about within Parliament, and I think that can only be a good thing.
Yeah, sometimes they go native, though.
Well, it's up to us, Chair, to make sure that they don't.
Yes. Yes, I think finger on table saying, remember where you came from on a regular basis would perhaps be a useful thing to do. Does anybody else have anything else they'd like to contribute to the future priorities piece before we bring that item to a close? Councillor Ashworth.
I'd just like to bring people up to date with progress on the preparation of the transport infrastructure priority very quickly. The intention is that there will be an overarching document which has 4 or 5 pillars within it, which are about the particular transport needs of different parts of the county. So, for instance, there will be one about North Staffordshire, there'll be another about the A500, A50 corridor, and so on and so forth. So, right now, work is progressing with the county officers and with the Stoke-on-Trent City Council officers, but we will be coming to your guys in the districts for conversations about what it actually means for you locally to improve the quality of your transport infrastructure. So please get ready to expect someone knocking on your door. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ashworth. That's very helpful, and a particular reminder that understanding the transport geography of your area to feed into this local transport plan is really important. So I live in Lichfield. I used to work in Birmingham, so I'm very interested in getting to Birmingham to work. If you live in Burton-upon-Trent, you might want to be interested in getting to Derby and other places. So it's really important that we understand when we're doing the local transport plan, local transport strategy, we understand how the movements of our people on a daily basis really work out, so we can augment that transport infrastructure and make sure any investment that comes our way helps with that. Heaven knows where people go to in South Stafford, Councillor Lees. It's that panhandle right down into, I think some people go to Worcester to work, I would have thought, wouldn't they? But, you know, it's, yeah, or Wolverhampton. So it's the complexity, the beauty of having this group of people together is you understand the complexity of transport in your district or borough area, and it helps to make sure that the document is going to be really, really sound for the future. Councillor Gledhill.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, just a note from the north on this. You know, an awful lot of our people in the Staffordshire Moorlands look also in that direction to through Macclesfield to Manchester, etc. And those are really important to us. But our big wish is to try to get better connections with the city, because we recognise the economic value of that to all our residents. I think others know that we're in a partnership with High Peak, and it's interesting listening to them talk about transport networks, because it ranges from links with Andy Burnham in the B network in Greater Manchester, right down to the southern side of Derby. So these are really big issues that I think will, if we can get it right, then we have a region that will thrive and grow and interconnect and be part of a whole, which is something I think that we all want. But it's a big job to get it over the line.
It is, and it does require that some of the components of our local transport plan are grounded in reality. I think you might know what I'm talking about, Councillor Gledhill. It's whether or not it's buses, roads or rail. And sometimes, whilst rail might be attractive, it can't be delivered because it's so stratospherically expensive to do. But there are other places where a rail line actually already exists, and we could perhaps lobby towards making that better. So the Lichfield, Burton, Derby line, that's currently a freight route. Could that be upgraded to a passenger route so it's easier to get in and out of Birmingham? I'm talking sort of off the top of my head at the moment, but there are plenty of opportunities around the county and the city to improve transport infrastructure in the way that Councillor Ashworth aspires to achieve through our joint plan for local transport. Councillor Ashworth, was there anything you wanted to conclude on that? No. Any other comments? Right, there are 3 recommendations for this item. The first is to consider and agree the proposed refreshed board priorities and next steps. I think we've done that. Note the progress of the Leaders Board priorities over the last 12 months. I think we've done that. And then offer views on any further collaboration opportunities in terms of unlocking some of Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent's most important current and future challenges. And Councillor Ashworth very helpfully emphasised the importance of the local transport plan. There are others, and we will pick those up as we move forward. All those in favour? Excellent. So, agenda item number 7 is exclusion of the public if there's anything to exclude them for, and there isn't, so Kerry, you're good. With that, ladies and gentlemen, the meeting is concluded. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Have a lovely day.